December 20th, 1943. Frozen skies over northern Germany. A crippled American B-17 bomber limps through the air, engines failing, fuselage torn open, blood on the glass. 10 men aboard, each praying to make it home. Out of the mist, a German Messerschmitt Bf-109 emerges. Its guns are loaded, its pilot trained to kill without hesitation. But this pilot, Franz Stigler, doesn't pull the trigger. He sees something human inside that broken fortress. Through the shattered glass, Franz sees men bleeding, one tending another, a dead tail gunner frozen in place. The bomber is falling apart. No defense, no threat, just survival. Franz feels something shift deep within him. Studio microphone, he remembers his commanding officer's words. "If I ever see you shooting a man in a parachute, I'll shoot you myself." Mercy over murder, honor above orders. Franz makes his choice. Studio microphone, he salutes the American pilot. A silent message across enemy lines. Then, instead of firing, he flies beside the bomber, shielding from German anti-aircraft fire below. 10 lives hang on his wings. Together, they cross the front line. For a few minutes, the sky, a place meant for killing, becomes a corridor of mercy. Then, as the coast of the North Sea appears, Franz breaks formation, gives one final salute, and turns back. The bomber, nicknamed Yo Pub, barely makes it to England. 1 dead, 9 wounded, but alive. Ground crews can't believe it stayed airborne. When the pilot, Charlie Brown, tells what happened, he's silenced immediately. Never speak of this again. His commander's order. If word gets out that Germans showed mercy, others might hesitate to kill. The war demands monsters, not men. And so, Charlie carries the secret alone. He finishes his mission, returns home, and builds a new life. College family, work, and restless nights. But the memory never fades. In dreams, he sees the German pilot's eyes, filled with something he couldn't explain. Studio microphone, decades pass. The world moves on. Yet inside, Charlie still hears the engines, the flak, the voices of the dying. And above it all, the silence of that German who chose mercy. Studio microphone in 1986, more than 40 years later, Charlie attends a reunion of combat pilots in Boston. Someone asks him, "Did anything strange ever happen to you during the war?" For the first time, he tells the story. Studio microphone when he finishes. The room is silent. One man says, "You should find that German pilot." And that single sentence changes everything. After 4 decades, Charlie Brown begins a search that will take him across the world. Studio microphone, he writes to Air Force archives, veteran groups, historians. Weeks become months, months become years. Every lead turns into a dead end. But Charlie refuses to stop. Mercy deserves an answer. Studio microphone, some say he's chasing a ghost. Others call obsession. But deep down, Charlie knows, somewhere, the man who spared him is still out there. The question that's haunted him for half a lifetime must be answered. Studio microphone, the years wear on, and still nothing. Records destroyed, pilots dead, memories fading. Until one day, in January 1990, an envelope arrives from Canada. Inside, were words written by hand. "I was the one." Studio microphone in that moment. 47 years collapse into one heartbeat. The German pilot has a name, Franz Stigler. The man who once flew beside him through fire and death has found his way back, across half a century. Studio microphone, their reunion begins not in person, but through words, letters, then phone calls, voices of 2 old men, once enemies, now brothers in humanity. Each call washes away years of nightmares and guilt. Charlie's daughter later said, "After he found Franz, the nightmare stopped." And for Franz, knowing they survived was the only good thing that ever came out of the war. 2 men once ready to kill, now bound by mercy. 6 months later, in Seattle, 2 old men meet for the first time. Franz steps out of a car, sees Charlie waiting, and without a word, runs to embrace him. The cameras capture tears, laughter, and the end of a 47-year silence. "I love you, Charlie," Franz whispers. 4 soldiers who once tried to kill each other, Those words carry the weight of a lifetime. Around them, journalists and veterans stand still, witnessing history's rarest moment, forgiveness. They spend the day talking, filling in decades of silence. Charlie learns Franz risked the firing squad for what he did. Franz learns all 10 men survived. Both realize they were haunted by the same night for half a century. Franz meets the surviving crew. The men who owe their lives to him take his hands, speechless. Their children and grandchildren gather around, entire generations alive because one man refused to pull the trigger. Charlie's wife hugs Franz like a brother. The families blend, American and German. Enemies turn kin. They talk for hours about life, faith, and the madness of war. Laughter replaces the noise of engines. Studio microphone, Franz later writes Charlie a note inside a book. In 1940, I lost my only brother as a night fighter. Thanks, Charlie, your brother, Franz. It's more than friendship. It's redemption. Studio microphone, they start traveling together. Air shows, schools, veterans events. Two men once divided by war, now united by peace, telling their story to remind the world what humanity means. Studio microphone, not everyone understands. Some call Franz a traitor. Others call Charlie naive. But they know the truth, that compassion is stronger than propaganda, and that even enemies can choose honor. When asked why he spared the bomber, Franz said, "I didn't see Americans. I saw men." That one line becomes his legacy, a sentence that transcends borders, uniforms, and generations. Studio microphone, Charlie tells interviewers, "Franz saved more than our lives. He saved my soul." For years, he carried guilt and nightmares. Now he carries peace. The war is finally over. Inside him, studio microphone, the two remain inseparable for 18 years. They speak weekly, visit often, and call each other brother. Their bond becomes a living symbol of reconciliation, proof that humanity can survive even the darkest of wars. In 2008, time finally catches up. Franz dies first, age 92, in Vancouver. 8 months later, Charlie follows, 86, in Miami. Two graves, oceans apart, bound forever by a promise made in the sky. Studio microphone, their story becomes a book, a higher call. But the real legacy isn't the fame or the pages written. It's a reminder that even in war, a man can choose compassion over cruelty, courage over command. Studio microphone, when Franz looked at that shattered bomber, he saw not enemies, but souls. And Charlie, for the rest of his life, carried that mercy like a light, proof that humanity can still exist in hell.